Hey, welcome back traders, Ryan here, and today I'll be looking into another prop firm for you all. The last prop firm video I did, I took a deep dive into Topstep, Apex, and My Funded Futures, where I compared them off of costs, how easy it was to pass their challenge, and what rules you need to follow, and how good their payout structure is. And in the end, I tell you which one I will go with. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out because I will be comparing today's prop firm with these three. Now that video got a lot of likes, and one of the comments is what inspired me to make this video looking into today's prop firm, Take Profit Trader, or also referred to as TPT. So thank you Itzko for your inspiration for me to make this video. And now let's get started by going to the Take Profit Trader website. So this is the main page if you go to takeprofittrader.com, and at the time of this video, March 29th, they are running a 50 and 50 promotion using this code right here. Now with this promo, you can get 50% off of the evaluation price for life. Now, I don't know how long this promo is going to last, but because it says 50% off for life, I suspect it may stick around for a long time and possibly turn into the new permanent price, kind of like how Topstep ran a discount and now it's normal price. But unless that actually happens, I'm not going to be using that price. I'm going to use the retail price to compare the cost because I don't know if this promo will be available to you whenever you watch this video, but just keep this discount in mind. Now the other part of the promo is you also get 50% off a pro account reset. The pro account is the funded account you get after passing their evaluation phase. Now normally for other firms, if you blow up the funded account, you have to start over and pass the evaluation phase again before getting back to the funded stage. So one unique feature of Take Profit Trader is that if you blow up the pro account, you can pay to reset it and not have to start all over with the test account. Now, you can do that up to 3 times before they say you have to go back to the test account. But this promo here will get you 50% off of only one pro account reset. Make sure you pay attention to it saying a pro account reset, not all 3. Okay, enough about the promo. Hopefully it will still be available to you, but let's scroll down and take a look at some of the other key features of Take Profit Trader. So here they give you a brief description of how they work, but we'll find more information down below. So we see here they require 5 trading days to pass the evaluation. There's no minimum trading days for the payout. Here they say no contract limits. That just means that there's no scaling plan that you have to adhere to. Up to 3 pro account resets, as I mentioned earlier before, and make sure you pay attention to here, the one-time 130 fee. This is essentially their activation fee. Once you pass their test, you have to pay this fee to get the pro account. Why I say this is because I could not find this anywhere. This is the only place that I've seen where they mention this fee. So make sure you just pay attention and you realize that they do have an activation fee. Okay, continuing down. Here you can see the different account sizes that they offer. I'm going to go ahead and just click through these. Feel free to pause the video and take down any notes if you want, but don't worry, I will have all of these numbers in a spreadsheet to compare later on. Now here we see be consistent. They do have a consistency rule during the test phase. This will go away once you go into the pro account, but there's 2 consistency rules that they have. We already mentioned the 5 trading day minimum. This is during the test phase. Once you go to the pro account, there is no minimum days for you to take out a payout. Secondly, now this is going to be the same as Topstep where they have a 50% consistency rule, meaning no more than 50% of your total profits can come from one single trading day. Okay, the other rule, no trading bot. This is pretty typical. It just means that there is no automated trading bots that you can use or any high frequency trading algorithms. Moving on, here are some of the available platforms that they offer. Some are free and some have additional costs. Now, I will have a list for you later on once we get to the knowledge base, but I didn't look too much into each platform. If there's a specific one that's not free and you're interested in using, I encourage you to investigate it yourself. But we'll go ahead and go down as we look at what they say here on your Take Profit Funded journey. They're going to start you off with a test account. Now this is going to be the evaluation phase, and once you pass that, you get to be moved into a pro account. This is going to be the funded stage where you can make profits and then take payouts. However, you're still in a simulated environment. They have one more step up, they call the Pro Plus. This is where you actually go and use live funds. Now I'll go into the Pro and Pro Plus more later on, but I just want to take a look at what they have right here on the front page. We can see that there's no trading day limitation for withdrawal. You just got to trade at least one day. The profit split is going to be 80-20 for the Pro and 90-10 for the Pro Plus. You can have a maximum of 3 accounts. I believe it's going to be 3 of either Pro and or Pro Plus in total. So I don't think you can have 3 Pro and 3 Pro Plus, but I may be wrong about that. So make sure yourself if you are going to go with Take Profit. One key difference is that we have a daily loss rule for the Test and Pro account, but the Pro Plus gets rid of that. Also pay attention to the drawdown. For the Test account, it's going to be an end of day trailing drawdown, but for the Pro and Pro Plus, it's going to be an intraday trailing drawdown, kind of like Apex. As I mentioned before, there's a consistency rule for the Test account, but not for either of the Pro and Pro Plus accounts. Also, the Pro and Pro Plus have a news rule where you cannot trade news 1 minute before or after the news. And there's no scaling plan across the board. Okay, and the last thing I want to take a look at before we go to the knowledge base is their frequently asked questions section that they have right here. Is Take Profit Trader regulated? Well, there's not actually any requirements for NFA or CFTC to require that, but they do say that they use regulated brokers. Now, I'm not going to go into each one of these, but I will go into the ones that I think are pretty important, like what changes when I get to Pro Plus. Well, they say almost nothing changes. Well, there are some changes, and I'll get into that a little later in the video when I talk about Pro Plus. Don't most people fail in trading, and is your test hard? Here they highlight how hard trading is and how this isn't a get-rich-quick opportunity. Now I do like how they have this warning on their main page, and they give you their stats from January through April 2023 right here. And we can see that about 20% passed the challenge, meaning 80% failed. Also, keep in mind that this 20% are only the people that passed the challenge. How many actually make it to their first payout? Well, if you assume only 20% of the 20%, that makes only 4% of traders making it far enough to actually get a payout. But that's only my assumption. Unfortunately, they don't provide that statistic. I'm curious on what their actual numbers are, but I suspect it to be a pretty low number. So that's why I warn you, be prepared and take your trading studies seriously, and make sure you give yourself the highest chance of success before trying your hand in a prop firm. You don't want to be throwing your hard-earned money away. So that's pretty much it for their main page. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into the knowledge base because I want to take a look at what their rules are like, and then we'll end it by breaking everything down. So let's take a look at the test rules first and see what we have to follow for the test account. And they have 6 core rules, and we'll go through each one of them one by one. Rule 1, hit your profit target. Just like any prop firm, you need to hit your profit target in order to pass the evaluation phase. And here are the profit targets for each of the account sizes. Rule 2, do not exceed maximum position size. So here are the maximum number of contracts you can put on for each of these account sizes. Now I don't know if they actually limit you on how many contracts you can put on, but if they don't and they just leave it to your own accord, if you break this rule by going over the maximum number of contracts, I'm not exactly sure what the penalty is. They don't actually say anything here about what happens if you break this rule. Also, one more thing to note, that you can use micros is going to be 10 times these number of contracts. However, if you have good risk management, I don't think you'll be using close to the maximum number of contracts that they provide. More so, I think you will be using closer to the minimum. Rule 3, do not hit daily loss limit. So similar to Topstep, here are the daily loss limit for the different account sizes. Now pay attention here, because for Topstep, if you hit the daily loss limit, what they do is they freeze your account so you can't trade for the rest of the day. And then if you have not hit your maximum drawdown, you can continue to trade the very next day. But for Take Profit Trader, if you hit the daily loss limit and you break this rule, here it says breaking the daily loss limit will lead to immediate account liquidation, meaning you will fail the challenge right away even if you have not hit the maximum trailing drawdown. If you break this rule, you fail the challenge. So make sure you pay really close attention to how much drawdown you have, and make sure you do not go over your daily loss limit, because breaking this rule, unlike Topstep, is going to fail the challenge for you. Okay, rule number 4 is the maximum trailing drawdown. If you hit the maximum drawdown, then you have failed the challenge, just like for any other prop firm. Now, for Take Profit Trader, it is end of day trailing drawdown for the test account, but I did mention that this will change to intraday on the Pro and Pro Plus accounts. And here are the maximum trailing drawdown that you can have for each of the account sizes. If you go ahead and scroll down a bit, you can see that they actually have a little graph here to kind of show you how the trailing drawdown works, and it will stop at a maximum of the initial account balance. Rule 5, trade approved products during approved hours. Here are the different products. The only one I personally care about is the CME, because I trade the S&P 500 and NASDAQ index, but here are all the different products you are allowed to trade. Also, trading time is going to be from 6 p.m., that's going to be the beginning, all the way to 5 p.m. So you are not allowed to hold anything past 5 p.m. Eastern. It's important to note that any position held past 5 p.m. Eastern will result in an automatic failure of test and loss of accounts. So you're going to go ahead and fail the challenge if you hold anything past 5 p.m. This is very different from other prop firms where they don't want you to do that, but here for Take Profit Trader, if you break this rule, you automatically fail. So make sure you take care and close out any position before 5 p.m., but probably even earlier than that. And they also put a little note here that it is your responsibility. If you get stuck in a trade because your market is closed and you can't exit before 5 p.m., this is going to result in the liquidation of your accounts. So make sure you always close out any position before your market closes. And rule number 6 is to be consistent. We already went over this. You have to trade for a minimum of 5 days in order to pass the test. Also, we have the 50% consistency rule, so no more than 50% of your profits can come from one single day, and they give you a short example of how that works. Now let's take a look at the Pro account and what rules do we have to follow for that. So in the Pro account, we can't use any trading bots or algos. We went over that before. They have a limit up and limit down rule. Now I haven't seen this one before, but sometimes the market, the price will go up or down very quickly and they will trigger a circuit breaker halt. Now, if you have an open position during the circuit breaker halt, then you will break this rule. So make sure you close out all positions if price starts going up or down too quickly. Because if you break this rule and you have an open position during a limit up or limit down, this will cost you to lose your Pro account. So it's very brutal. They provide you a link here. Let's go ahead and click on it. And it will take you to this page where you can reference some of the different prices for your limit ups and your limit downs. Now, personally, I'm not 100% sure how this all works. I'm using this reference price. And here, for example, 7% price limit down only. I'm using this price and I'm multiplying it by 93% in order to get some number that's kind of close to this, but not this exact number. So I'm not exactly sure how this limit up, limit down works. I just know that if price go up or down too quickly in a short amount of time, that I do not want to be holding position open. Okay, the next pro account rule is to trade your account, and make sure you know that this rule exists because it can cause you to lose your pro account. Basically, they just want you to trade. You have to make at least one trade per week, and they define trade as where you open a position in your most traded instrument for at least 1 minute. So if you don't do that each and every week, you can lose your pro account. Next here, they just let you know that they removed the consistency rule, so you do not have to worry about that 50% consistency, and you don't need to worry about trading 5 minimum days to get a payout. In fact, there's no minimum days. You can just trade 1 day and request a payout. The daily loss limit works exactly the same way as in your test account, so make sure you do not breach the daily loss limit because this can cause you to lose your account. So make sure you don't break this rule. Next up is the trailing drawdown. They changed it from the end of day trailing drawdown to an intraday trailing drawdown. Remember, that's going to be drawdown based off the highest equity of your account while you're still in the trade. So make sure you pay attention to this. Now, it does also stop when it goes to your starting balance. So that's good. Once you get a good buffer, you don't really need to worry too much about the intraday trailing drawdown anymore. Lastly is the news rule. I mentioned this before. You're not allowed to trade 1 minute before or after certain news events, and that's going to be FOMC, non-farm payroll, and CPI. Also, if you trade crude oil, that also includes crude oil inventories, and also if you trade bonds, it's going to include bond options. So make sure you're not in an open position 1 minute before or after these news events. Now let's go into what happens if I lose the Pro account. Basically, this page just tells you that you're able to reset your Pro account up to 3 times. Also, the fee is going to be more than your $100 test reset fee. Now, this fee, the reset fee for the Pro account, was actually really hard to find. Now, I'm going to show you the only place that I could actually find it is if you go into the FAQs and then you go down to the 50 and 50 promo facts. This was the only place I could find it, and here we go. Here are the different reset fees for the pro accounts for each of the account sizes. Now, before we get into the Pro Plus account, let's take a look at the payout structure. I already mentioned the profit split, but let's take a quick look at it. And we have a 80-20 split for the Pro account. This is not going to be as good as Topstep, Apex, or My Funded Futures, but let's see if there's any benefit for this trade-off. They mentioned that you can withdraw the funds on day 1, but same like the other firms, they have this buffer zone, so you're not allowed to take a payout while you're in the buffer zone unless you go ahead and terminate your account. And then depending on how many days the account has been open, you either get to withdraw 50% or 80% if it has been open for more than 60 days. That's only if you're inside the buffer zone. If you're over the buffer zone, you can go ahead and take out, and you'll be subject to that 80-20 split as long as you are above that buffer zone. And remember, the buffer zone is going to be that maximum trailing drawdown plus the initial account buffer. So if you're within that, that's going to be the buffer zone. So it looks like the only good thing here is to not have a minimum number of trading days before you can take a payout. And you will get the payout within 1 to 2 days, 24 hours to go to your wallet, and then 12 hours to withdraw from your wallet. But other than that, the 80-20 split is not as good as the other firms, and you still need to build that buffer zone, just like the other firms. Last thing about payouts, I just want to mention the withdrawal fee. Now, there is no minimum withdrawal, but if you will withdraw less than $250, they will subject you to a $50 withdrawal fee. So even though there is no minimum, you'll likely want to withdraw more than $250 just to avoid this fee. Okay, let's move on to Pro Plus, and we'll first take a look at the benefits. We can see that we no longer have a daily loss limit, so that is really good. Our profit split goes up to 90-10, so that puts us at par with the other firms. Also, we see that there is no buffer zone requirement, so another bonus. Now, if you're able to reach $5,000 in profit in the Pro account, then you will have the opportunity to go into a Pro Plus account. And unlike the other firms, you can choose not to go into a Pro Plus account and just stay with the Pro account. Now I want to talk to you a little bit more about this $5,000, so let's take a look at their setup process section. So here they talk about the $5,000 of profit that you need to make in the Pro account before you get the opportunity to go into a Pro Plus account. It's going to take 1 to 2 business days to set this up. But once it's ready to set up, they're going to put your Pro account on hold and freeze the $5,000 in profit. Then, when you start your Pro Plus account, it starts over at the initial account balance and you have to work your way up again without hitting that trailing intraday drawdown. This is yet another challenging hurdle you'll have to jump over without hurting yourself by blowing up the Pro Plus account in order to reach that 90-10 split. And of course, the big question here is what happens to the $5,000 in the Pro account? If you blow up the Pro Plus account, do you also lose your Pro account and the $5,000 as well? Or do you just lose the Pro Plus account and you have to go back to the Pro account with the 5K in it? Well, in the end, I was not able to find the answers for these questions. So I would urge you to get clarification from them before you sign up for the Pro Plus. But if I were to bet, I would assume that you would lose both the Pro Plus and the Pro accounts along with the $5,000 profits should you hit the trailing drawdown in your Pro Plus account. Now that's only my assumption, but you'll have to get clarification from TPT yourself. But if this is the case, it is pretty devastating to lose that 5K, especially if you haven't taken a payout yet. So if it is the scenario and you want the 90-10 split from Pro Plus, I would recommend first taking a payout in your Pro account, at least enough to break even, but you'll probably want to take out a little bit more. Then build it back up to 5,000 and then go for the Pro Plus account once you've already put some money in your pockets. But that's just my recommendation, but it's up to you. And since the Pro Plus account is live, let's take a look at the market data. And they say here that they will cover the market data fees for the exchange that you usually trade in. But if you want additional exchanges, it's going to be a monthly fee of $122 and it's going to be charged directly into your Pro Plus balance on the first of each month. Also, here are the countries that are restricted from having a Pro Plus account based off of Tradeovate's restriction list. Now, the last thing I want to go over before getting into the spreadsheet is the reward system that TPT has. Basically, you earn points by passing the test or withdrawing $1,000, or every dollar that you spent, you get 1 point. Obviously, you want to pass a test and you want to make $1,000 withdrawals, and try not to spend money if possible. But once you've accumulated enough points, you can redeem them for a free test reset, test accounts, or even a 50K Pro account, meaning that you get to skip the test phase for this Pro account. Now for these test accounts, I'm assuming after the first month, if you need to go for a second month, you'll have to pay the regular monthly fees. So in order to make it absolutely free, you'll have to either pass or fail within the first month. Then if you pass, I think you'll still have to pay the activation fee, that $130 for the Pro account. So also keep that in mind. Okay, so here are the numbers for Take Profit Trader compared to the other 3 firms, Topstep, Apex, My Funded Futures, both the starter and the expert account. And I highlighted some of the key differences that I want to point out. The first thing is the daily loss limit. This is similar to Topstep's daily loss limit. For the 50K account and greater, they do give you 10% more. But remember that breaking this daily loss limit rule for Take Profit Trader automatically fails the challenge. Unlike Topstep, they just freeze your account temporarily, but you can continue to trade the next day as long as you don't hit the max drawdown. Take Profit Trader, you will automatically fail if you hit your daily loss limit. Now we can see the profit target to trailing drawdown ratio is pretty similar to the other firms. I do want to point out that the 25K account, you have a 6% profit target and a 6% trailing drawdown, making it a 1-to-1 ratio. This is even better than the 50K Apex ratio. So this could technically be the easiest challenge to complete. However, keep in mind that we do have a $500 daily loss limit. So you have to make this work as long as you don't hit that 500 daily loss limit, which can be kind of difficult if you are trading minis. So maybe this can be good for micros. Down here is going to be the total true cost that you will pay for this firm, depending on if you pass the test with no resets, one reset, or two reset, or if it takes you more than 1 month in order to pass the test. Now, I mainly want to stick with the 50K, 100K, and 150K, and I've only highlighted those prices compared to the other firms because they don't have a 25 or 75. Now, Apex does, but I just don't have it in the spreadsheet. And I highlighted the two cheapest and the two most expensive in each category, with the darker color being the most expensive or the cheapest, and the lighter color as the second most expensive or the second most cheapest. And you can see overall that Take Profit Trader is on the more expensive side, sometimes even being more expensive than Apex. This is due to the monthly evaluation cost being quite high, but their reset fees is around average, and they do have that $130 activation fee, which is actually cheaper than the other firms, with the exception of the extra account, of course. Also keep in mind that the trailing drawdown is going to be both end of day trailing drawdown for the test phase, and then once you get to the pro account, it will be intraday trailing drawdown, and 5 days minimum with a 50% consistency rule. So technically you can pass it in 2 days, but then you still have to trade for 3 more days in order to pass the evaluation. So what do I think about Take Profit Trader? Well, I'll give you my honest opinion, but you're the only one that understands your situation. So you need to form your own opinion when deciding whether to go with this prop firm or not. So firstly, the cost is on the expensive side. If you have the promo available, you can mitigate the cost by taking 50% off of the evaluation, but even then, it's still going to be more pricey than Topstep or My Funded Futures. Now, the difficulty in passing the challenge in terms of profit target versus drawdown is about the same as the other firms. However, this daily drawdown limit can be deadly, as it will make you fail the challenge should you go over it, unlike Topstep's daily drawdown, which only makes you stop trading for the day. Also, once you pass the challenge, there are many rules for the pro account that if you break, will cause you to lose the account. But if you're able to manage all of the rules, the payout structure is better than Topstep's. Even though the profit split is 80-20, one could argue it is better than Topstep's 50%. Also, Topstep requires at least 5 winning days, and Apex requires 10 trading days. The best part about TPT is no minimum trading day requirements for taking a payout. But then again, My Funded Futures Extra account doesn't have that requirement either. So these two will be the ones I will go for if I'm looking for a prop firm with no minimum trading days for a payout. And the difference is if you are willing to take a challenge with higher profit target requirement or a prop firm with more rules to deal with, like the daily loss limit. Now between these two, I would personally go with My Funded Futures Expert. It is potentially cheaper, and I would rather have a higher target to reach for than to deal with a bunch of rules that could cause me to lose my account. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Is there something I'm overlooking for Take Profit Trader? Also, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel to help support this channel, and leave a comment below on which prop firm I should go and cover next. But until next time, guys, good luck trading.